I would believe it was like a weird fan demake of RE4.
I don't know how they did it, but they've made it look like a 2D game from like any perspective. But it always looks like a 2D game, no matter what angle you have the camera. And I find it really impressive. Hello, everybody. Welcome to new gameplay today here at Game Informer. I am Kyle Hilliard, and I'm here with Marcus Stewart. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, what's going on, Kyle?
Not much. We are checking out Holstin, which is this upcoming indie horror game from developer Sonka. And I've played, this is like a recent build of it. There was a demo that was put on Steam a while ago. This is like a new demo that shows like more of the game. And I'm kind of already sort of enamored with it. Marcus, you've spent a little time with this. You played the old demo, I believe.
Yeah, I don't even remember when it was. It feels like it was like a year ago, but I don't even know if that's accurate. But it was a while ago that I first played this.
Yeah, and the hook of this game, which I played for about an hour, like I played the full demo. And then I kind of cut down to 13 minutes or so of like just some of the cool stuff in the game. And you'll see what makes it interesting soon, in that it's like if you played Crow Country recently, or what's the other one that's the name is
Signalis
for me, right? Signalis. It has like that kind of vibe, very Resident Evil inspired, very Silent Hill inspired, but as you can see, you can drop into this third-person shooting mode at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool. It maintains its pixel style, but it feels like a very functional third-person shooter. So, I actually solved a puzzle there where I had to shoot specific nodes to make all this stuff go away. And that wasn't like that wasn't a section that just like pulled me into third person. Like anytime you pull the left trigger, you go into third person. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of and maybe because he's also wearing that jacket. Like I would believe it was like a weird fan demake of RE4. Just when he goes into that perspective, he's got kind of the Leon Kennedy coat going on there.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a really cool twist. I like that, and also that it doesn't look like the way you're rotating the camera there. Like you would think initially that it's just static angles and stuff, but it definitely doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but they've made it look like a 2D game from like any perspective. Like because I do have basically full camera control. It's interesting. You don't have camera control on the right control stick. You actually rotate the camera using the bumpers, and you kind of turn at these like specific angles. But I never felt like limited by that, right? But it always looks like a 2D game, no matter what angle you have the camera, and I find it really impressive. So that gets you on board in the trailer, or immediately. If you just watch a little bit of gameplay, if you're just like checking out a little bit of Holstin gameplay, even in this video, like just looking at it is cool. But playing through this demo, which I believe is like the opening of the game, I was also feeling pretty good about it mechanically and structurally. It feels like a Resident Evil game. It feels like a classic Resident Evil game, and there's a lot of Silent Hill in here as well. You have a map that your protagonist is like marking up and stuff like that. Like you have to find items to get you into other places and solve little puzzles, and then the action combat is that cool sort of, oh, by the way, this game is third person, is almost how it feels in a weird way. It's like, it's just like you don't expect it to suddenly like let you play Resident Evil 4 in a way,
Yeah, and I know you've only played an hour, but I saw, you have the sort of RE4 style like inventory. Like I assume you're doing kind of like item Tetris, so that you can...
Absolutely. Yep. Fully.
Okay. Have you gotten a sense of like resource scarcity? Like is it pretty big on that? Like should you be pretty conservative with what you have, or is it a little bit more on the generous side?
Yeah, I was for better or worse, this is a matter of balancing. I was hitting a lot of stuff I just wasn't able to pick up pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. In fact, that happens right here. This shotgun I found, I don't have the inventory space for it.
You picked up cigarettes, so you chose cigarettes over a shotgun.
Well, the cigarettes take up like 1 square and they stack, you know.
Okay.
And
Are
then,
they, what do they do?
I met a guy who will trade me ammo for cigarettes, so it's kind of like a currency.
I was gonna say, can you smoke them like Solid Snake? And
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, like you were saying, the Tetris sort of that totally exists here, and you can combine things. You know, you find recipes, and it's all simple stuff, right? This isn't like a game where you're like experimenting with all the different things you're finding and picking up and putting together. Like you have to find a recipe to be able to combine an herb, you know, with alcohol to make a really powerful health item and stuff like that. So it's very simple, and it's just a way. It's less of like a puzzle and more of like this is how you sort of manipulate your inventory, is you combine things to make space and get a better item in exchange. You know.
Okay. So is the game? I guess it's ostensibly a horror game, right? Have you found it particularly spooky?
Yes, 100% a horror game, 100% spooky. I mean, you're this like I guess you're, I don't know if you're like a mercenary, or I think maybe you're like a police officer or something, but you're looking for somebody in this town. Mm-hmm. Like you actually, it's interesting, the opening of the game has this cool sort of, you know, pixelated cutscene where you're on a train and you actually jump off the train to enter this town. Like the train doesn't even stop at this town.
What a cool guy.
And yeah, and you find this woman.
Oh no.
Who is like a scientist, and she's like, yeah, no, I like ruined this town. I've basically created zombies, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. And then that's what you're sort of exploring. You're like looking for someone in this town, and you're dealing with these zombies. But then there's also that thing that Resident Evil does sometimes, where it's like there are people who just are there, who are just kind of trying to survive, but aren't trying to escape, if that makes sense.
Sure. Are they the people that, like, when a hurricane comes, they're like, nah, I'm gonna hunker down. I've seen worse. Like, they're just stubborn. Is that their attitude?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it feels like, but in a way that I like. That's like,
this isn't my first zombie apocalypse. I've seen worse.
Yeah, but it's in a creepy way that I appreciate. I'm kind of like, why aren't you trying to leave? Like, what are you doing here? You know? And then they're just kind of like, I don't know. Hey, you got cigarettes? I'll give you some bullets. You know? Just like, okay.
I just stand here waiting for a guy with cigarettes to show up. You know? Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I like this. Like, it's so simple, like the perspective change, but like even in that last gunfight you're in, it was so cool to just kind of watch, just seeing that, like this style in that sort of perspective made that firefight like more fun to watch.
And it's like it's.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I love these kind of games, so I'm already kind of finding myself in that like slipping into that mode of just like not wanting to use anything and like sort of even just like mentally rationing the items that you have. Like, I've not done any of this, but I'm thinking like, you know, I probably would have just made room for that shotgun and dropped like
but which is fun. And yeah, I actually like, as much as it's Crow Country is the immediate comparison because I played it the most recently. A game I really like, to be clear. I think you reviewed it for Game Informer, right,
I did.
Marcus?
I like that game too.
Yeah, and like this, as much as I like Crow Country, maybe a weak point was like the gun combat was like, I would ultimately just say it was like fine. You know, like it wasn't like a highlight of the game. The highlight of that game was sort of exploring and puzzle solving and stuff like this. Where this has that sort of pixelated, fun, throwback, horror, exploring and running around. And then it is a really good feeling third-person shooter. Like, I like engaging in the combat and firing the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. And also it's I believe the game takes place in like the 90s in Poland, I think is what they're going for, right? Psychological survival horror game set in an eerie, isolated 90s Polish town consumed by an ominous presence is what the Steam description is. And I believe the developers are Russian. And it just has like a different vibe, right? It's like it doesn't feel like an American town, you know, like Resident Evil is despite being a Japanese game, is usually pretty good at like getting across. Like this feels like a place I haven't been before in a way that I really like. And there are lots of strange characters. I don't know if I have footage of him here, but there's like this old man who is just acting like a child and like wants to play and stuff like that. And it's just that weird, creepy thing that's just like You know, it's like, yeah, you're making me unsettled here in a way that I like, you know, for a horror game, you know?
Yeah, like, I don't know if it evokes this specific vibe, but it's almost like a Twin Peaks of, like, everyone here is just kind of off in a way where you're just like, something is wrong here. Even though they are ostensibly normal, you know, and that they're not zombies. Like this guy, he looks...
Yep. Yeah, he's the guy. He's the one who's, like, acts like a child. And Tomas, you know, the protagonist, is like, he's not judgmental about it. He's like working with the guy, you know. he's not winking at the player, being like, oh, this is a weirdo. He's like, no, not this guy. This is just how he is, you know.
Yeah, his friends call him Tolerant Tomas.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's not Holstin. I guess this whole time I thought he was Holstin. Like that was his name because he's standing in front of it in the load screen.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what that because I don't think the town is called Holstin. Maybe the town
is it his last name? Is he Tomas Holstin?
No, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to play the full game to find out.
That's the central mystery of the game, I'm sure. Who is Holstin?
You'll also see that I'm aiming for glowy bits. Which is a very, a video game cliche through and through. But
a Resident Evil cliche.
Absolutely. But just one I don't ever mind, really. You know, it's like...
It's always satisfying.
I would rather have something to aim for like that than just always be going for headshots all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if they blow up real good.
Yeah, it like blows apart parts of their limbs. So like if they have a glowy bit on their knee and you shoot their knee, then they'll like fall to the ground and stuff like that, you know.
Are you doing any? I see you have a knife. Are you doing the RE melee stuff? Can you do a knife only run? You think?
Yes, absolutely. Like that crowbar in my inventory is actually like a melee weapon, right? Okay. That you can use in lieu of bullets. But it is hard to use. I actually don't think in this footage I show any like crowbar footage, but you actually do. You have to like time your hits out. It's not just like a weapon that you swing wildly. It's like you kind of have to like hold the button down and charge it and swing it at the right time. So you have to like, it's a little more nuanced than just like swinging it like, like a sword or something in a comparable game, you know?
Yeah, and I've noticed a few times you've gotten grabbed there, and there's like a little like I don't know if you call it like a QTE, but you have like directional inputs that you have to put to get out.
Yeah, they're very quick. They cycle quickly because it'll just be like left up real quick, but if you don't do it quick enough, you miss it, and it gives you another chance to do it. But yeah, it lets you get out of grapples quickly and stuff like that. It's the kind of game that it's like, between like melee weapons and like if you want to like not pick up ammo and bullets, like yeah, I think you totally could do like a run where you're not doing a lot of shooting, but it would be challenging. It would be very challenging.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess that's the point, right? Like that's the challenge of it. But no, this looks cool. Like I feel like it's been a while since I've played a good like old school style survival horror game. There's been a little bit of a gap, so I can feel like myself like realizing that I have the appetite for one of these right now. Yeah. So
it's a trend I embrace. Like I said, we Signalis and Crow Country, like, and this is kind of in that zone. And so at this stage, playing this demo, it feels like a good one so far. I want to play more. It's always a good sign when you're playing a demo and it concludes and you're like, I want to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is what we're coming up on here is like, this is the end of the demo. I had to get all these pieces together to get this woman to let me borrow her car so I can drive to a different part of the town to meet my friend. And then it's like, this is a whole other crazy, this is completely different gameplay, where you're
Pacific
doing this, like, driving. Yeah, but it still has that really cool pixelated 2D look. I really like it a lot. I find it really enticing.
Yeah, for sure. That's neat. You're driving maybe less cool, but
it's intentionally great. It's like it's kind of needlessly challenging. I don't mean that as like a critique. I mean it's meant to be hard. Like it's like if you don't turn very strong, it's more of like a sort of a visual thing. But
you're driving through the woods in the middle of the night. That'd be hard.
Yeah. But no release date yet for Holstin. But it's definitely coming to Steam. There is a demo available, as we referenced earlier. It is planned for Switch and Xbox and PlayStation, but no release date yet. Hopefully we learn something soon. But I will say, playing for about an hour this demo, I was impressed. I want to play more for sure.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, Marcus, and hanging out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.